Hey there folks, welcome back to La Casa de Grisa. Today we got two batteries in this F350 diesel that may be on the fritz. Now this thing's been giving me problems starting for about the last couple months. Haven't been using the truck very much. Had to jump it the last, 6-7 times, something like that. I had it inside all winter, but I had to bring it out as soon as the spring broke. Now, well, it's fucking snow on the ground. I don't know if spring's really here yet, but the way to do this, normally in a fleet situation is you just replace the fucking batteries. Don't be cheap. But since I already got the truck sold, because I got the truck sold, I'm going to use my toaster tester here. Now some of you may know this as an emergency cigarette lighter, but I'm going to use this cheap little Harbor Freight style tester to determine which one of these batteries is worse than the other and see if I can cheap out and only replace one. God, what an asshole. Now, there's two ways of running batteries. You can run them either in series or in parallel. Now, when a battery's connected like this one to this one over here, where the negative and the negative are both connected to each other, the positives and the positive are each connected to each other, they're running basically in parallel. When you run one in series, you run one negative to another one's positive, and that then increases the voltage. So we got two 12-volt batteries here. We're not rocking 24 volts. We just got 12 volts. What we have here is a higher reserve capacity because there's two. So when you're going to break out the old tried and true toaster tester or emergency cigarette lighter, you need to separate the two batteries that are running in parallel, because if you just put the tester on there, you're going to be testing both of them at the same time. It's going to give you a false reading. So take the terminals off, test each one separately. When you turn the switch, you'll see what happens. Now honestly, this is probably one of the best tools you can have in your toolbox. This thing tells you whether the alternator's charging or the battery's shit. I mean, for 10 bucks, 12 bucks, 25 bucks, you can spend whatever you want on these things. This is probably the go-to, excuse me, this is probably my go-to for everything. And I've had several through the years. This is probably my 5th or 6th one. They get ripped off and shit, you know what I'm saying? God damn. Everything in the shop's got Scott Baio all over it. Alright, now I only had to take one side off because the other side doesn't need to be disconnected. Save yourself a little time there. Also, one thing that I didn't show is that you want to take the negative side off first. The reason for that is if you take the positive side off first and you accidentally touch the wrench to a source of ground, it's going to basically dead short. And it's going to spark and scare you, or weld itself to the thing, start a fire, maybe burn the truck down. So, anyway, here we have 12 volts. We flip the load test. Now, I've done tests on this thing over the years. It's probably about 75 to 85, maybe 95 amps of a draw. So this battery's singled out. Flip this thing, and you want to count to 15. You don't have to say Mississippi, but you could say something like Idaho. So, watch it, and if it goes below 9 volts within 15 seconds, the battery is shite. Oh fuck, I lost count. I'm gonna say we're getting red hot. Now, if you got a cigarette and you need one lit, just stick it in them holes up there. Them coils are gonna get red hot. Spark up a fatty if you want. Whatever. I'm going to call this probably 15 seconds. Once those things are glowing red, you're good to go. So this battery's alright. Oh shit, it started on fire. Fucking Harbor Freight, man. Shit. Alright. I'm going to let this cool off and check the other side. See if I can't get this thing to ignite again. Alright, well, she's cool to the touch, so I'm going to say it's all good. Negative. Positive. Again, we're rocking 12 volts. Flip the switch. Oh, fuck! That went down so fast. Well, could be a bad connection. Let's see before I make that joke. Ready, set, flip it. Oh, this battery's fucked for sure. Okay, one good, one bad. Let's change this and be cheap. You put this back in, put some grease on there. Never fuck the next guy. These break like motherfuckers. Well, somehow I managed to take off the right battery. Didn't have to disconnect the other one. What are the chances of that? You got two batteries, one good, one bad. All right, 117 American doll hairs later. Go. Now it's a good idea to rough this up on the inside before you put that on. Got one of those battery terminal cleaners probably somewhere. I'll have to go look for it. Now, of course, I can't find it, so something's better than nothing. Now, in the words of the one and only Frank Zappa, keep it greasy so it goes down easy.
You know how cute I always thought you were.
Now this thing's been sitting out in the cold for a couple of weeks, so I'm going to give her a little whiff. Or not. So I got a question for you guys out there in internet land. Why do I have to push the unlock button before this thing will crank? Anybody have any idea? It's been that way since I got this truck now. Since I'm out of ether, I'm going to cycle the glow plugs a couple times because I think I got a week 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, something like that. I'll wait till the wait to start light goes out, turn it off, turn it back on, make them cycle again. I want to get that pre-chamber hot as I can get before I crank this thing because it's been sitting outside. It's basically winter temperatures for about a month. Let's say maybe 3, then I'll give her. Foot to the floor. Come on, baby. Oh. Fuck yeah, she barks to life right off the bat. That's all she needed was another 12 volts. She's running like shit. Well, there you have it, folks. The toaster tester from Harbor Fart. 15 bucks maybe 20. I don't remember. I buy a couple of these a year because I usually throw them out when they get run over, or in this case start on fire. But you can't go wrong with this. Now, I didn't show you the charging system test. All you got to do to check if the alternator is running is start the engine. I'll get close up on this here. You hook this up to the battery, you start the engine, and the needle's going to come right up into these areas here. Now, since this battery over here is fairly drained, it might be showing a false reading right now, but if it's in that green, the alternator's working just fine with the engine running. It's a pretty easy test. It's not high tech, it's not super accurate, but this thing, for the money, you can't go wrong. So thanks for watching. Click that subscribe button, will you? Click it.